In the parable found in Luke chapter 18, Jesus speaks about a Pharisee and a tax collector who each went to the temple to pray. Now the Pharisee stood by himself and he prayed this prayer: I thank you, God, that I'm not a sinner like everyone else. I don't cheat, I don't sin, and I don't commit adultery. I'm certainly not like that tax collector over there. I fast twice a week and I give you 1/10 of my income. The tax collector, on the other hand, stood at a distance and he did not even dare lift his eyes to heaven as he prayed, saying, O God, be merciful to me, a sinner. Jesus went on to say that the sinner, not the Pharisee, went home justified before God. The word justified, put into simple terms, means just as if I'd never sinned. God had heard the tax collector's prayer. The Pharisees? Well, no. Why? Well, the King James Version puts it like this: he prayed with himself. Someone else said he prayed to himself. Jesus concluded by saying, those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves, they'll be exalted. It's sort of opposite to the ways of the world. There are some who make a lot of noise and incessantly rave about themselves and what they are doing, often on the pretense of it being a kingdom-building exercise or conversation. Now, as we know, tax collectors were not high in the popularity stakes of the day because of the way in which many of them operated. They weren't always exactly right. And the Pharisee, well, he was a religious man. And I use that word deliberately because being religious is so different to having a relationship with Jesus. Pharisees were perhaps full of themselves and how important they were. They saw themselves as being right at the top of the ladder, very close to God. Jesus told this parable to teach the importance of praying with the right attitude. The Pharisee prayed about himself, letting God know how good he really was and letting God know all about all that he had done. Indeed, he thought there's no doubt that God would have been pleased to have him on his side. He did everything just right, and he fulfilled the law to the letter. The only problem was that his prayer was simply praising himself. The tax collector, however, bowed his head because he knew that he was rotten to the core and that he needed God's forgiveness and grace in his life. When they had finished praying, the men went to their homes. But only the tax collector had pleased God, as he had been humble and he had asked for forgiveness. Notice this, that attitude is important to God. That's worth thinking about. Have a great week, and may God richly bless you.